Jujutsu Kaisen saved my life. Okay, no, it didn't do that, but it did cure my anime burnout, so hear me out. I think watching so much anime the past 7 years has burned me out a little bit. It's hard to get excited about new anime, and I'm often, left feeling like I'm watching shows just so I can keep up with everything going on. A lot of them, at least for me, hover around just like the average to slightly above average to pretty good range. You'll get the one or two that are like really good, and a lot of the time those will just be continuations of already established series. No anime has really brought that factor, that feeling of excitement and anticipation waiting week to week in a while. I think what I was dying for was an event, a moment, something I'll remember even when a series ends. And it's been more than a week since Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 ended, and I can't stop thinking about the Shibuya incident. I've never seen an anime, never witnessed an anime have so many 10 out of 10 episodes in a row, bringing something game-changing every week with no real dips in overall quality. It wasn't, just about the animation of fights. It's also about how the episodes kept building upon each other, progressing the story forward. The way the season steadily built up the tension leading up to the incident, throughout, and even afterwards for the future of the story just really made this entire season feel like a roller coaster. And I think if you were to binge it instead of watching it week to week, it would just feel like one entire long movie. Now, I came in knowing a little bit about a character named Toji, kind of saw how he looks, knew he was related to Megumi, but other than that, I didn't know anything else. And for him to play such an important role in Gojo Geto's backstory, the Shibuya incident, and to an even macro perspective, the understanding of cursed energy in the universe of Jujutsu Kaisen, and what you can achieve even when you have none of it. Just remember who made it cool. Jujutsu Kaisen has truly cemented itself as an anime that isn't afraid to subvert people's expectations. Power of friendship doesn't go very far here in the face of unfathomable gaps in power. There's death, there's loss, and a lot of our characters' lives are going to be changed forever. I gotta say, one of my favorite moments from this season, amongst a sea of unforgettable ones, is when Yuji accepts that he doesn't need to be the one to save Gojo. Something that's unusual to hear from your MC, but really only further goes to show how willing this anime is to go against the grain. Now, I think most of you watching know the not so good stuff that accompanied this season, mainly in the latter half. If you were even somewhat aware of this past season, you know the shit show that came when animators began speaking out against the working conditions and unrealistic deadlines that were placed on them. Some of these scenes, I think, definitely required more than a week's worth of effort, or at the very least needed more animators working together on them. The infamous 30% Mahoto versus Sukuna episode, which I think in retrospect still looked amazing, definitely. It had some moments where it was a bit difficult to tell what was going on, but ultimately it's not even about the art, because at some point, if you want to have super fluid animation, you will have to sacrifice the art quality a little bit. That is, unless you're Ufotable. Yeah, so about spoilers, oh my god, man. If I didn't hate Twitter enough, Jujutsu Kaisen 2 just completely made me not want to go on that app. And honestly, even Instagram, you couldn't even get on these apps early Thursday morning. There'd be people who... It's ridiculous. And worst of it all is that sometimes they're in the form of memes, so you're not even expecting it, and then it just hits you right in the face. So I'm definitely going to end up reading the manga before season 3 comes out. I hate when this happens, because this literally happened to me when I was watching One Piece, when I was catching up to One Piece. I knew about a certain character's death, a very pivotal death in the show, before I even started it. So as soon as I was introduced to that character, I already knew it was going to happen. Anyway, this man fleeced everyone, letting his allies get stronger so he could steal their techniques, unleashing 10 million cursed spirits around the world, and activating his cycle plan. Even after all the struggle to reach the finish line, the situation ends up being worse off than when our character started. What we thought was going to be the end of a conflict ends up being the start of a much larger one. Wait.
そしてさようなら、旅客の少年。人間にしては、君は実に面白かった。
And the words he used when he was revealing his plan honestly reminded me a lot of what Sukuna was telling Jogo. But that's the thing though, even though it seems like their interests are aligned, everyone has their own motives. And so I don't know if it's set in stone that Geto and Sukuna are going to be working together. So that's why I can't wait for next season. I guess I should probably talk about this freak. I don't think I've hated a villain like Mahito in a while. Everything about this dude just pisses me off whenever I see him on the screen. Villains with multi-layered plans who continuously outmaneuver the good guys are always welcome, but sometimes villains who are evil just for evil's sake and whose methods and motives are like fairly straightforward are also pretty refreshing. His malevolence goes hand in hand with his childlike personality, which does make some of his antics amusing, but they did kind of catch me off guard a lot of the time. Mahito for me represents the true nature of evil, and yet at the same time he's fighting for the survival of his kind, the same way our main characters are. Having finally truly accepted his existence as a curse, he pretty much wants to carry out that purpose of just being pure destruction. The yin and yang between curses and humans is, I think, perfectly represented in the interactions we see between Mahito and Yuji, and I think both of them come to understand that this endless clash of ideals is part of a natural order rather than just a difference of opinion. I've always had those anchors, those anchor anime that really just stand the test of time and are kind of like a beacon. They kind of just stand out a little bit more from the rest of everything else. And so I think Jujutsu Kaisen is part of that. It's one of those anime you're going to look back in 10 years and really just talk about how this was a great time to be around, a generational moment for the culture, and also one of like the best starter anime. Probably if you're recommending an anime, I would say Jujutsu Kaisen is right up there with Attack on Titan. I could tell you a lot about the Chunin exams or the Dark Tournament or Marineford, and I think now I'm gonna have to add Shibuya Incident to that list. Anyway, I'm gonna go because there's a lot of new anime coming out right now that I gotta filter through. But let me know if you guys have ever felt that way about anime, whether you've ever had burnout or, you know, something like that, especially for my boomers who've been watching it since they were kids. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Peace.